If you listen to Donald Trump, or really any conservative that loves Donald Trump, they're all eventually going to tell you the same word regarding the 2024 election. Mandate, right? That's what Donald Trump has told us repeatedly. He pointed that out in his attack on Judge Boasberg this week. I got the mandate. I have a mandate. The people chose me overwhelmingly in the biggest election that ever happened, which of course it was not. We didn't even have the highest voter turnout we've ever had. Trump didn't even get the most votes that any candidate has ever gotten. Joe Biden holds that record from 2020, by the way. But the word mandate pops up all the time because they believe, Trump at the top of it, that the voters overwhelmingly said, Donald Trump, do whatever the hell you want. And according to a conservative pollster by the name of Kristen Soltis Anderson, that's hurting him so bad right now. Now, before I read what Anderson wrote in the New York Times this week, it's important to remember that all of Trump's poll numbers have gone down. The approval for his handling of the economy is now underwater. His approval rating itself is underwater. Doge's approval rating is way underwater. Elon Musk is underwater. Handling of Ukraine is underwater. All of it. The voters have lost trust in Trump, at least a majority or a plurality of them have. So Trump is doing horrible in the polls, and part of the reason Anderson points out is because he believes he has a mandate to do whatever the hell he wants, but the numbers don't bear that out. Here's what Anderson said. Trump seems to view his job differently than many voters, which is one reason for his falling poll numbers. He strongly believes that he was elected to return to Washington as a disruptor, this time with significantly more experience and effectiveness than in his first term. He believes he has the latitude to go big and bold, to create some turbulence and cause some prices to rise in the short term as he asserts himself in Washington and around the globe. As I dug into Mr. Trump's polling data, it looked increasingly that American voters' mandate to the president was more narrow than he sees it. And again, by the way, this is a conservative pollster. But she continues, there is increasing evidence in public opinion data that Americans are growing impatient to get the primary thing they feel they were promised, a more stable economy where the cost of living is more affordable. Presidents have misread their mandates in the past, seeing what they want to see rather than what the voters have plainly told them. The best argument for Mr. Trump's belief that he was elected with a broad mandate to bring about a progressive change is that he never pretended he'd do otherwise. Voters had plenty of foreknowledge of what Mr. Trump might do in a second term, and they voted for him anyway. I can't disagree with that. I mean, I say that almost every day, like, he told you he was gonna be bad, and you're still like, well, he's not a black woman, so I'll vote for him. Let's be real. That played a lot of it, okay? But anyway, don't act surprised. Don't act shocked. We warned y'all for years how horrible he was, and you went with him anyway. But she mentions the numbers, right? And of course, obviously, this whole thing is bad for the Republicans. The more chaos Donald Trump causes, the more that Republicans in Congress let him do it, which they did with their, budget bill they passed, the more pissed off the voters are going to get. 2 different Republicans attempted to hold town halls this week and got shouted out. One of them actually had to be escorted out, the politician, because the angry voters, stormed the stage. In Colorado, in Lauren Boebert's district, by the way, this is just funny, she won't go do a town hall, so they actually held one, put a cardboard cutout of her up there, and the voters just yelled at it for like an hour. It was great. But anyway, everybody in the Republican Party is paying the price for Donald Trump's actions. But again, I want to get to the poll numbers, okay? Right? The election results. This is something I talked about months ago, but I want to rehash it so you can see how big of a mandate Donald Trump had. So prior to this segment, I sat down, I did a hell of a lot of math here, and here it is. The population of the United States was 340 million in the year 2024. Obviously, 340 million people in this country cannot vote. Right? We got babies, infants, toddlers, teenagers, and of course, people who've had their right to vote taken away due to felony convictions and whatnot. So 340 million total people, but out of that, only 245 million are eligible to vote. Now we get to the important numbers. 245 million eligible voters, but only 156 million voted. Of those 156 million, Donald Trump got 77.2 million votes. Harris got 74.9 million votes. Trump got 49.8% of the popular vote. Harris got 48.3%. So Trump won by 1.5% among the people who showed up. Just among the people who showed up. So about 90 million eligible voters didn't show up. So Trump didn't even crack 50% of the 156 out of a total of 245. So you break those numbers down even more, which is what I did. Out of all possible voters, all eligible voters, Trump's total drops down to 31.5%. Harris's drops to 30.5% out of all possible voters, had all 245 million showed up. So Trump's victory over Harris drops from 1.5 points down to just 1 point. And he didn't even get a third of total eligible voters supporting him. And if you want to talk about the total population that actually picked Donald Trump, again, obviously babies have no idea what's going on, but they're part of the population. But you've got 16 and 17-year-olds who do have a pretty good grasp on what's happening. They understand what's going on in the world, but they're not old enough to vote. So they do count. And of course, the people that are serving time in prison or can't vote because they have a felony conviction, those are grown adults who do understand what's happening, but in many areas, just not allowed to vote. So if you take the entire population as a whole, again, including the babies, only 22.7% of people in this country said, yes, I want Trump back in office. Not even a quarter of the country. Out of eligible voters, not even a third voted for you. That is not a mandate at all by any stretch of the imagination. And honestly, it's kind of pathetic when you start looking at it that way. So Trump is acting like he has a mandate. I just gave you all the numbers, the real numbers, sat here, crunched them myself, did the math. There was no mandate, but he's acting as if there is, and that is turning voters against him, and it's going to cost the Republican Party very dearly, possibly in the next several election cycles. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform that, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.